Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just like to welcome you all to our third Zine live launch from the Open Arms. I'm sure you're eager to pursue the menu and get a taste of what our Zine has to offer with our amazing readers. This is right over there. But first, let me tantalise you with a brief appetizer. We started the zines at the beginning of lockdown in 2020. The idea of being isolated from events and gatherings like this was a daunting thought back at the beginning. For creators such as us, it was especially a trying time, as we had no stage of which to perform and no audience to perform to. The idea was simple: give Margate and Thanet locals a platform which they could share with creativity and connect them with audiences they no longer had access to. The Bookie put the call out, and what a response we got. The Great Indoors Zine blew us away with diversity and reach it achieved. With over 35 submissions to the zine, we reached so much further than we originally thought possible. We got submissions from across the UK, America, across Europe and out to Pakistan. Our online live launch was incredible, allowing us to connect with all these socially and geographically distant creators in a showcase of their own creativity. Our next zine, Resets, spread across the world. We reached India, Australia, Israel and Lithuania. We also created a lasting connection with Keningau Vocational College in Malaysia, reaching so much further across the States. I'm proud to say that the Open Arms has gone even further, with over 60 submissions and touching almost every continent. The zine itself has changed so much, its mission always adapting to the sheer scale of attention and interest. And with our first in-person live launch here tonight, it can only get better. But that's enough from me. Let's dive right in and see what tonight's special is. First up, we have the amazing Ann Lloyd. Partial to tea and biscuits, art and writing, Ann lives in Margate with her husband and 2 young daughters, and is so lucky they're all creators, and all love biscuits. Ann did art career at Canterbury Christchurch Uni as a mature student and recently started writing poetry and dabbles in ceramics. Ann has found writing such a help to her in recent difficult times, and would love to find out more about being a writer. Put your hands together for Ann Lloyd.
Feeling blessed, thank you Lord. It's been a rough ride, but I'm glad I'm on board. I went seeking answers to the castle of the power. Why such a struggle? Tell me again how. I'm doing my best, but it's never quite there. The doubts and the worries get too much to bear. But the love all around me and the wonder and awe bring me back to reality, and I know there is more. The talking has helped, and it's making more sense, who I was then and in the present tense. Some things I can't change, and some I can try. More positive thoughts, stop, ask myself why. Better if I can accept this is me. My brain works like this, and don't expect me to be someone I'm not, striving for what. I'm doing just fine, not losing the plot. This is me then, pleased to meet you.
That was incredible. Thank you very much, Anne. Next up, we have poetry and storytelling extraordinaire, Pauline Holmes. She was the winner of the Kent Poetry Slam Championship in 2020 and is the debut poetry author of Talks to the Poor, published by Whiskey and Beers. When not working or doing poetry stuff, you can usually find her mucking about in the garden in Gillingham with bees in her hair, playing in the woods with her dogs, or terrorising the neighbours on her bike. Give it up for Pauline Holmes.
We've got all the short people first. And I'm ever so sorry, but my eyesight isn't good enough for me to use the book. So I've had to print it out in large print. And the piece I'm going to share with you today is called Resilience. Do you have a coat? Do you have a coat with cuffs blackened, greased by hands hunting for keys, for hankies and bits of string to tie up a flapping clematis torn from the tree in October's storm? Are there grubby dog treats and soft polos bought long ago festering in the seams of your pockets? And do those pockets cunningly conceal your gloves, watching while your fingers sting from frostbite, fighting with zips that just keep sticking? Has your coat an L-shaped tear, made by brambles which ran amok, crossing the top of a crumbling wall that sent you sprawling on a rainy Monday in December? And did you rise triumphant from the mud, shouting, "This is the best day ever!" Because those moments, stolen from life's drudge, when the wind pulls you into the wild, are simply the best. Do you have such a coat? The epitome of memories to be treasured and lived again and again. Give it a peg. Best peg on the door. Use it often and make some more memories. Because that's all we are. So go outside, make yourself some good ones, and then make some more, and keep on making them. Make more. More and more and more. Thank you.
I can see where you're slam champion. I really can. It's brilliant. So, having just jetted back from Greece, Craig Brown is a writer of short stories and poetry, currently working on a novel set in his hometown of Ramsgate under the genre of magical realism. He lives with his long-term partner and enjoys painting scenes across the Thanet coastline. Here is his excerpt from Boy in the Window, Craig Brown.
Thank you. He said everything I was going to say here, which is awfully good. But I'd like to start with this quote. Writing is a solo pursuit, but creating a story is a collective process. Thank you to Justin Brown for including my story in this third zine, The Open Arms, and to my partner Keith for his unwavering encouragement. And I'd like to also thank Critiquers Anonymous for reading and helping with the editing and structure of the piece. Your continued support highly valued. Boy in the Window was inspired by a simple moment while waiting for a bus after a Thanet Writers' Conference. A boy waiting for a window with a haunted expression, which I ignored, but later on the bus wondered if the boy was in real trouble or simply being friendly. So I wrote the story. Dave's arms are broad, kind of like those of rugby players. They would make a great home, one that you could settle down in, well beyond childhood memories. Not like mine, skinny arms and painfully shy, that's me. Speak up, my mum would say. Your moniker is Fergus. You will always be Fergus. Be proud of that. But not according to Dave. He calls me Harpo. Get the next round in, Harpo. Set the pool balls up, Harpo. Suck my... Well, he never says that. But You get my drift. Dave's my best mate, and I am his obedient servant. So you can imagine my concern when my best mate stopped me, full on the lips, during our walk back from the pub last Friday. My initial instinct was to knee him in the bollocks, and I did. I somehow managed to get Dave back to his house and leave him slumped by his front door, doubled over in agony. Maybe he wanted more. Maybe I did. But considering his half-drunken state, we agreed to never speak of this again. But it played over in my mind and remained in my head when I finally reached Warwick Road bus stop. I stood outside the chippy and waited, glaring up at its golden letters in confusion. Why? Why did he do it? Maybe it's because we're competitive Gen Zers with big aspirations. My smart friend told me that. Apparently, we demand instant gratification and we're goal-driven and self-confident. Oh, bullshit, really. Fact is, Dave and I spend every Friday night playing pool and drinking Guinness at the Mulberry Tree. Apart from the free pool and close proximity to the local chip shop, we chose this pub because Dave lives nearby on Dane Road. For me, it's been a walk to the bus stop, come to think of it. While I'm at the bar buying us drinks, Dave is usually shoving red and yellow balls down his designer jeans, a vague attempt to impress the girls, who often lean against the pine wood paneling. You're pathetic, they cheer, while sipping lemon-infused craft gin from tall glasses. And he is, but it always makes me laugh. This usually results in me spilling precious beer all over the ancient floral patterned carpet. Perhaps the girls are also attracted to his dark mane of hair that had grown thick with confidence over the years. He will probably live and die with full head of hair, whereas I most likely be bald by 30. And then there's Dave's Willie, which is legendary. Well, at least it is according to his own anecdotes. He's always going on about it. Not that I've actually seen it. I'm tempted to look when we go for a piss, but would die of embarrassment if he actually caught me. The trouble is, during pool games, he often used to threaten to stuff his enormous cue stick up my virgin bottom. I just laughed, of course, spilling yet more beer. But I still don't know why he does it. I remember it was fireworks night. After that kiss, I waited for a bus outside the tippy. I knew that one would turn up at any moment, but I needed a piss. Although it was a 30-minute ride over a sea of speed bumps, I still believed I could hold on until I got home. It was a feeble night of drinking, only 2 pints under my belt, not exactly drunk, but gliding along with a gentle hum. The door to the chippy was flung open, and a group of Margate lads bundled out, laden with greasy bags of food and munching on jumbo savoys. The owner watched from the doorway as the lads sang their way down North Down Road. A young boy appeared behind the owner, maybe 10 or so. I couldn't quite tell. The boy stared at me intently. "Get upstairs," the owner said to the boy, with a clip to his ear. The boy didn't flinch, just stood there. "Now," the owner shouted, raising his fist. The punch landed squarely in the center of the boy's chest. The wheezing sound was like air escaping from the cordia. His small frame fell to the floor. He managed to get to his feet before he hastily ran inside. The owner held the glass panelled door open and looked me up and down. "In or out?" he asked. My head lowered, no reply. Silent, remember. Directly above the shop, a bright light illuminated an apartment with blackout curtains, fully plastered. In the corner of the window sat a boy. His face was expressionless. He pressed his hand against the glass in an open palm display. His thick hair reminded me of Dave's, though not so confident in appearance. We locked eyes again, but I wasn't sure if he was waving or not. My instinct was to wave back. However, I thought this might look lame. I decided against it. At the Shell garage opposite, a tough guy in soft-eared lip curl pulled out his phone and watched me from under hooded eyes. He crossed the road and headed directly towards the bus stop. I didn't want to look him in the eye or draw undue attention to myself. I still needed a piss. Above the pitched roofs, tiles of red brick apartment, a deluge of fireworks was set off, false heavens exploding in the sky and scattering to far corners of my vision. My attention was shifted away from the window. When I returned to look back at the lit room, the curtains had been drawn and the boy was gone. The room was in darkness. The bus arrived and I boarded with the tough guy, who sat in surprising silence throughout the journey. My dignity intact, I never waved. The boy forgot. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Well, Amanda Jones. As soon as I read your piece for the open arms, I knew you had to be a part of the live launch. And I'm so glad you accepted. Amanda studied creative writing at Canterbury Christ Church Uni, graduating from her MA course in 21. While a student, she wrote 2 pieces for collaborative projects curated by Thread and Words for Margate Bookie, one of which is the one we have here today. Amanda is working on a novel, Past and Fair, which draws from her experiences as a Polish, Russian, Caribbean, Essex girl, and which she's writing with the help of bursaries from Writers HQ. Please give your seal of approval for Amanda Jones.
Margate Bookie for selecting my piece for the Zine and for inviting me to come to the launch tonight to read it. I think it's true that in every story there's a kernel of truth. And the kernel of truth in this story is the seal at the Seal Sanctuary in Greek who sang to me, and only to me. So that was real, the rest is imaginary, and this is One Night in Margate. Of course, I shouldn't be taking it home with me. Shouldn't have lured it up the harbour steps into the backseat of the car with the pilchers. And how did I come down to the pilchers and the glove box anyway? I hate herring. Shouldn't be driving home with its sealed red pot on the back of my neck. Shouldn't be singing with it to Kate Bush and her wandering eyes. Tomorrow I'll drive it, or possibly him, back to Margate. Or should I take you back now? As I keep driving. At home, we maneuver upstairs into the bathroom, and he hauls himself in the bath. I run it from the cold water, nip down to the kitchen, my left salt crystals, pink Himalayan from the deli, and add them handful by handful. Stay away. We clap his flippers, and I stop and sit back at my heels and gaze at each other. Conversation being limited, I switch on the radio. Saving by your shipping forecast, I should like this. I go downstairs and get the second to last. That explains it. It must have been a buy one, get one free offer. I can never resist the bob. The water is murky after his snack, so I drain the bath and refill it. He seems to understand. Grooming his whiskers before the last bits of culture, watching them swirl away. At the end of the salt crystal, is that enough? Would this shortest all be okay? I better Google it first. I wonder whether to take my clothes off. Would that make you feel more at home? Then he honks with alarm as I pull up my t-shirt. So I step into the bath fully clothed and lie beside him. The water's cold, but he's warm. There's nothing like that. We just lie together. He cradles me with a flipper as I nestle against him. And I feel better than I have since Pete left. Pete, who had said I was bewitched. Pete, who had said I was a selfie. Pete, who pointed out that the seal of the sanctuary was singing to me, only to me. He said I must always live near water. He said we'd always be together. me in a miasma of herring, and it's over, spell broken. I jump out of the bath, and he follows, humping and slithering down the stairs. Wet as we are, we scramble into the car, and I drive straight back to Margate and park on the harbour arm. A wet, hasty hug, and he launches himself into the sea. I wipe my phone and dial. Pete? Pete, it's me. I'm sorry. I love you. The seal just made me realise how much I need you. Sounds mad, but I know you'll understand that's why I need you. Please come home. Please. I stand, looking out to sea, waiting for Pete to call.
And now you see why I had to ask her to read it. Melissa Todd is a writer and performer from Broadstairs, the editor of the Broadstairs Beacon, a DJ on Singapore Radio, and a director of Hack Ahoy Theatre Company. Not sure there's anything she can't do. Her first novel, My Body Is My Business, was published last year with Clink Street Publishing. And so, having landed about a day or so ago from New York, Melissa Todd.
Thank you so much, Justin. And as for there being nothing I can do, we were watching trying to park somewhere. This is called Summer in the World. Fingers twisting the silver elephant from my charmed bracelet. My mum gave it to me on my last birthday, telling me elephants symbolise strength, somewhere in the world, and good luck and loyalty. It swings feeble against my perfumed wrist, clinking against the horseshoe, lathering my tights, barely black, 10 days. Just relax and breathe, he says, which is probably good advice. And then, not everything is about you, you know. But he says it light-heartedly while squeezing my knee, because we've not been going out that long, not quite 5 months. It feels like a theme that might echo down the years, should he stick with me. His profile is angular and intent in the dark as we speed down a country lane, moon peering through clouds. I try to breathe and relax because I'm obedient, then Google, what is the purpose of dinner parties? Hoping for some pop-psych take on building camaraderie against external enemies, something to cling to throughout the evening. I just get a load of guff about making friends and memories, as if anyone wants that. It's new friends and memories that scare me. Before you know it, they'll expect to come to our house, which would be vastly worse than going to theirs. Actually, there's a blessing to cling to. I can walk out if I must. So, boyfriend and me. We met at a life drawing class, where I spent 15 minutes setting up my easel while watching him sketch with swift, confident strokes, tit, thigh, nose, understood and arranged and on to the next. He looked up to smile at my gaze and looked away on seeing my artistic efforts, but still suggested the pub after, where he told me what art meant to him. He felt a lot of things intensely, it transpired. Too many for me to absorb. He tells me a bit about the couple who are hosting. He used to work with a man, and there'll be 2 other couples he's met at dinner parties with the last girlfriend, on whom I prefer not to dwell. Life and soul, asked Susie, always lit up the room. He's reluctant, or perhaps incapable of saying much about the other couples, but he's sure I'll love them. With Google having failed to reassure, I spend the rest of the drive deciding to leave him. I imagine in minute detail, packing up my stuff while he's on the loo, enough for a week or 2 anyway, and starting a new life somewhere cheap. Budapest, Sunderland. I could become someone entirely new, someone who doesn't get corralled into dinner parties by men who know so little about you they think you'll love random couples. Is it usual to love someone so much that the idea of their leaving makes you feel slightly ill, but the anxiety of expecting it every day makes you want to run away and learn to forget they exist? I trace his name on my arm. Stupid, darling man. More anxious than me, probably, just hiding it differently. Cooler than me, better looking, with more to lose. I only have him to lose, and I expect it daily. My charms tinkle when I fidget. It makes him frown, so I try to sit still, relax, enjoy the trees rushing past. My feeble sense of direction has been further shafted by worry, but we're a long way from home now, surely. It must be about to begin. Why do people like sitting opposite other people, staring, trying to think of words that won't make them feel stupid? Where's the fun? What am I missing? Expensive things, dinner parties.
They take up hours and hours of your day, too. I bet the woman's been slicing and simmering since dawn, putting her hair in rollers, painting her toenails. A day she could instead have spent looking at porn and walking her dog. There must be some payoff. If I can find it, maybe I can get through. We're here at last, he says, in that mock, blustery, jolly tone I'm learning to dread, and I make the silent pledge to be a good dinner party guest, which is surely largely nodding and smiling, and not screaming. I can probably manage it if I don't drink too much and take new breaks to remind myself. Nod, smile, don't scream. I want to make a note on my phone that he frowns when he sees me fish it out, so I throw it back in my bag. Rule 4, no screens at table. Got it. He rings the bell and I stand back to compose my face into an expression that indicates eagerness, glee, not being mental. Then duck away from my reflection, their shiny new dawn. To fight back rising snakes of panic twisting in my gut, I recite my gratitude list, the one that details how things will actually improve if boyfriend abandons me for someone more normal. 1. I will not die if he leaves me. It might feel like I will, but I definitely won't. It will only be sad, not lethal. 2. I need never see his friends again. 3. Bed linen will stay sweet smelling for longer. But I'm already struggling, and the bit of brain I'm trying to fool isn't falling for a word. Panic continues to snake through my sternum. If it hits my throat, I might burble some relationship-destroying gibberish. Breathe deep like he told you. Former work colleague opens the door. He's wearing a bow tie and holding champagne, and this is already much worse than anything I'd allowed myself to imagine. There's a strong smell of lilies in the room, some complicated jazz arrangement on the recipe player, and this man, putting his head to one side to stare at me like a hungry pigeon. John, hi, and Bruce, yes? His eyes are bloodshot and a little bleary. He raises his hand to greet, then beckons in, and takes my coat and bag before I understand what's happening. Now I can't escape. I fidget my bracelet as if it were a rosary. Relax, breathe, relax, breathe. We are the last to arrive. There's a lot of laughter and established intimacy that dwindles as we enter. I sit beside a woman with silvery white hair cut in a slant bob, and a green dress that makes me think of mermaids. She touches my arm. You're a pretty little thing. Oh, thank you. I like your dress. Champagne, please. She pours awkwardly, perhaps a little drunk, and it fizzes over onto the table. She makes vague, mopping motions with her fingers, then sucks at them before touching my arm again, slightly higher this time, stroking her fingers against the meaty bit around my elbow. She likes to bond with touch, this woman, which is my least favourite kind of bond, even worse than talking. My arm feels sticky and hot, her thighs pressing into mine. People are talking all at once. Traffic, work, sickly mothers, difficult teenagers. Bowtie man says we should go to the dining table and sit boy, girl, but not with our other halves. And this is good news because it means touchy mermaid will go away, but bad because I'll be with different strangers. Across the table, boyfriend throws back his head to laugh, hand resting on a creamy bare shoulder. Under a sudden twist, my elephant buckles and snaps. Relax, breathe, it's not about you. I recite my truisms, counting my charms.
Once again, another wonderful piece from Elizabeth. And last but certainly not least, reader, is Nina Telegina. Nina is a poet, writer and performing artist with over 10 years international experience. Nina is a multiple slam winner, including the Kent Poetry Slam Championship. Her debut poetry collection, Long on the Loose, was published by Whiskey and Beers in 2021, and her solo poetry show of the same name toured across Kent in 2018. Her work featured nationally on BBC Sounds as part of the Best of Upload 2020, and tickets to her incredible new show Renegades are highly sought after. A big cheer for Nina Telegina.
Goodness knows where the lowering shadows lie. After floating all day under stairwells and landings, awake in the crevices, cracks now descending as discreetly and steadily, night lands its feet. Goodness knows every street, with its banks and its currents, because the paths that she wanders are open and snow, and her footsteps are soft, and her silence is warm. Words no patch on her antediluvian meanings. Goodness knows where the fabric of living is frayed. She is a friend to the strays, and to those who struck sail, and to all the loose ends that refuse to be tied. She laces them into her net side by side, so that those still adrift, they're moored to each other. And sometimes she helps them to fasten their knots, and then gurgles at babies awake in their cots as they stare, grown-ups think, at the light of the ceiling. Because we never do notice, for goodness is meaning, that her absence is stark. As the evening draws in, like a lighthouse, she stands on the edge of the park, clothed in red and in amber. When blind to the traffic, a drunken man sails off the edge of the green, and the hollering din of the brakes and the horns imperceptibly, urgently, goodness wades in and yanks him careening back onto the shore, where he knocks over bins and he splutters and swears. Goodness, ever so gracious, pretends not to hear. That's when night tiptoes near and whispers intently that vain the attempting and empty lie, that millions of voices cry out for the helping. Goodness knows not the how, only ever the why. And then there are places where she is not welcome, where no reason contends with a hand-raising paint, where the journey gives up to the angering deep, and she's always too little, a moment too late. Goodness is tired. She knows she must sleep. So she slips round the corner and barefooted nose, gliding through puddles and counting each door, and then sighs up the stairs, because she's been here before, in the dark of this bedroom, where someone is dreaming. And being, as ever, a delicate guest, she melts into air, settles down in the chest, where the tenuous workings of life run shine, where the lungs dare to savor each measure of time, and the blood surges on in defiance of distance. She holds to the muscles and vessels and finds that here she is somehow affirmed in existence, is anchored to meaning and roped on the heartbeat, and meanwhile, the dreamer is startled by nightmarish visions which bluster and swell. The mast of humanity rises and dips as nature is torn and despairs of healing, as promises crumble, betrayals are made. How could they be ever repaired when the shipwreck is so astronomically small? And what use can there be in this atom of feeling which gathers a storm in the space of the ribs and aches with the hopelessness, never suggesting that this is the place in which goodness is resting? The twilight strikes out because someone is sleeping. The dreamer awakens and goes to the window and watches the street lamps in turn passing by. My goodness. My goodness. Look at the sky. At the brink of the earth, brimming over. How many kind spirits must walk in the night to ravel the world into soft understanding and witness the breaking and trust in the living? How many safe harbors are needed to meet them when night lands its fleet in the shadows alone? And how much they carry beyond understanding, or whether in patience or give to the tending so some gentle flicker may ever persist, may gather its courage and strengthen and tremble and venture again into mist.
Well, I'm competing it in the slam race, so fantastic everything, thank you. And here we are. Orders up, the Open Arms zine is now released. You can get your free digital copy online now. A post has now been released on the Margate Bookie website. And yes, I will be sharing the links as soon as possible, as soon as live stream is over. Thank you ever so much for joining us. We hope you enjoy our great selection for our menu of literary and artistic creativity. My thanks go to Margate Bookie for their ongoing support for the great things, to my editing and proofing team, Jess and Sam, the incredible Francesca Baker and Cat Nose, and of course all of our contributors to this and all of our amazing themes. Thank you ever so much.
Unscripted, but I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Justin Brown, who does an amazing job with this thing and takes so much care to communicate with all of you writers and think about how to put these things together. And you know, he's really a joy to work with. So thank you very much, Justin, for all the hard work you do on this.